Hello there, Taz Roro here, Northern New Jersey real estate professional. I'm here to talk to you about what's happening in the real estate market, particularly because June is home ownership month. Did you know that? So as we know, COVID has impacted all industries at this point, and the real estate industry has been impacted primarily because of three issues, right? So the obvious one is we're all being careful, and some people are not comfortable opening their homes for buyers to come in, and same thing with buyers not as comfortable going into people's homes. That's one. The second issue is from a buyer's perspective, job security, right? Being comfortable in their income in order to commit to a mortgage. The third is the executive orders across the state putting limitations on business operations, whether it be vendors, movers, contractors, or even government offices. So in order to run title or complete a CO, certificate of occupancy. So those have been sort of the main issues making impact to the real estate industry. So COVID, buyer and seller not being comfortable, job security, and then executive order limitations. What's happening now? Well, so as we know, at least in the state of New Jersey and also happening across many other states, the executive order is kind of loosening up. It's allowing for more phased opening of businesses and operation. So that's helping with the time that it takes to close, and many different businesses being able to operate. As a result, people are becoming a little more comfortable, maybe whether it's going to the grocery store or perhaps even checking out a property. As of the recording of this video, open houses are still not allowed in the state of New Jersey. But the industry has pivoted, right? So we've gone into either video tours or virtual tours. And the great thing about that is, what I've witnessed in the market activity is, at least for the month of April, I'll talk a little bit about May, year over year, if we're gonna look at April 2019 versus April 2020, inventory has gone down, understandably. However, for the properties that are on the market, there's actually quite a bit of interest from the buyers, and we've seen still multiple offers on properties that are on the market, because the truth is, if buyers are putting on masks and gloves to go look at a property, they're probably going to put an offer, right? And they have to move. Same with sellers. If they're putting their property on the market during COVID, it's because they have a goal to move, right? It's not an optional, let me test out the market type of situation. So that's been an interesting dynamic to see. So, I call that the fluff is out, right? It's nice outside. Let me put the kids in a stroller and go, look at an open house that may or may not be the house that I want, may or may not be my budget. Those are not happening anymore. It's real buyers and real sellers in the market. So it's been still a tight market. I will say that the second half of May, I've noticed more inventory coming up on the market. So that's good news. So let me tell you what this means for you as a buyer and what this means for you as a seller, right? If you're considering buying or selling. If you're a buyer, definitely stay on top of your credit. So particularly if you're participating in any of the CARES Act relief plans for whether it's student loan or mortgage relief. The reason being, some of them are blanket policies, meaning you may not need to make a phone call for that forbearance or deferment to happen. Some of them you do. So be clear about where you stand, be communicative with your servicer, and ask about the impact that'll have on your credit. That's really, really important. So a timeless advice I can give, COVID or no COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID, is your credit score is really gonna help determine your buying power. Even before COVID, we all know that if you have a great credit score, you have leverage in terms of getting a great rate and competitive rate, right? Even more so now. Because of COVID and because of some people perhaps not being confident in their job income security, some mortgage companies are tightening the lending guidelines. So what that means is when you go to a lender to get pre-qualified for a mortgage, they will ask for what's called, or they'll calculate what's called DTI, debt to income ratio, right? So this is the revolving credit or debt that you have. This could be a car payment or student loan or mortgage, something that has to get paid, not necessarily like your living expenses, versus your income. What does that look like? There's something called the front end, the back end that they calculate. And then your loan to value ratio. And so for different loan products, there are different guidelines that they allow. Those are now getting tight, right? So perhaps they're requiring a higher credit score in order to qualify for the same product. So it's really important that you stay on top of it and that you don't let it slide so that your buying power is not impacted. So those are good things to keep in mind. The other is lenders may be asking you for additional documentation, extra documentation that perhaps they wouldn't have asked pre-COVID. So be prepared for that. And you know, I encourage you to get in contact with an agent and to start your plan. That's always a great idea, you know, to identify an agent you want to work with, you're aligned with, that you vibe with. And then if you're in a position to do so, to start the pre-approval process. Because even pre-COVID, you know, if you start looking at properties and you find that the perfect property, you're going to need that pre-approval to send in an offer. Otherwise, the seller is not going to accept it. So you can still do some of that legwork, some of that communication, some of that planning, and perhaps put a strategy together, even if you're not ready to go and look at properties. And rates have kind of stabilized fairly, and they're still pretty low. So that's what I would recommend for buyers. For sellers, same consideration as before, meaning, you know, keeping the home organized and decluttered and presentable, repairs, now that things have opened up and you know, perhaps some construction can happen. I really recommend you doing some of the repair work that needs to get done. The reason why this is important is when you put your property on the market and a buyer, a qualified buyer comes along, and they will do, any good buyer will do an inspection, all of those little things that you didn't get to, the bulb, the switch, something is loose, all of that will now become a responsibility for you to either remedy or to give credit for. And for buyers, particularly first-time home buyers, they're not just gonna look at it as work to be done. They're gonna look at the time and effort that it takes to, you know, reach out to contractors and negotiate and all of that. And so it's gonna seem more work than it might be. And so it's in your best interest to remedy those things so that the repair request is not, you know, so large. Obviously, pricing it right is you know, always what is advised. The other is, you know, reach out to an agent and put a plan together and be very honest about what's comfortable for you and put it in terms of safety and in terms of a timeline. So if you're, you know, buying somewhere else or if you're renting, kind of put that together so you can make that part of your plan. Do find and prepare your title policy. That will be helpful because of still some limited availability or operation in local government offices and county offices. It will help with the process, with the title search process. Another good news is that since April, this is May reporting, there's actually been a 54% increase in mortgage application by buyers. So what does that show? That shows that buyers are motivated and ready to jump back into the real estate market, and they're looking for good inventory. So that's kind of what's been going on. You know, wanted to just touch base with you. So if you found this information helpful, insightful, definitely share it out. If you have any questions on this content, or you're looking to buy or sell and you need to clarify your plans, I'm happy to be a resource in the state of New Jersey and can also help connect you to quality agents across the nation. Feel free to reach out at connect@tezroro.com. That's connect@tezroro.com. Stay safe till next time. Take care, guys.